All right, and welcome back to Star Trek Strange New Worlds reaction to episode 3. I'm Sean, this is my co-host Brian.
Hello.
Hello. And when we left you last, Brian and I hoped for some things. We hoped for maybe he wanted an intrigue episode, and I suggested that maybe we have a fun episode. At first, I thought we were going to get a fun episode. And then I thought we were going to get an intrigue episode. We ended up getting more of an intrigue episode, but not like I think you wanted, for sure.
Right. A little bit more lore building, fulfillment of backstory kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, what we realized real quick that it seems like it's going to be a Lon story.
Right.
So it did have some humor, though. At the beginning, it was very funny. A little thing with Spock. You know, she's just kind of doing her voiceover, and we're kind of seeing a montage of a day in her life. And, well, hell, it actually there's a little intrigue at the beginning anyway, right? Because, I mean, she's kind of going around trying to figure some stuff out as a ship security officer would do. And we get a little Carol Kane, so you got your little dose of Carol Kane there at the beginning.
And throughout, a couple more times afterwards.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I thought it was pretty funny how they started out with that little deal with her being wanted, for lack of a better word.
Audited.
Yeah. She got a little something they need, or that they've been looking for. I didn't actually remember, was the art, I know you could see it, but could you tell what it was? Was it mentioned what it was?
Oh, it was, but I can't recall. And it's a well-known painter. I want to say Degas or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you can put it in the comments as you're hitting the subscribe and like buttons. Yes, let us know what the name of that artist and or painting was. And, yeah. Learn us something. How about that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't know which way it was going, really. And I was with it so far, though. I was like, okay, well, I don't know where we're going, but this is good, I guess. The time travel thing became apparent pretty quick as soon as that guy showed up, which I like time travel episodes a lot. At first, I thought, though, that this might be a Mirror Universe episode, which I was scared to death it was going to be. I've liked Mirror Universe episodes in the past, but I'm sick to death of them now. Discovery pretty much ruined Mirror Universe for me.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, if you're going to go Mirror Universe, I would go classic TOS.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, sure. And there's some, and Deep Space Nine ruined it for me too, because they kind of, there's some good ones in Deep Space Nine, but there's also too many.
Right.
Yeah, they had a little too much fun with it there. But I liked the Enterprise Mirror Universe episodes. Those were good.
Yeah.
So, when you do them sporadically, it's nice, but when you abuse it like Discovery did and Deep Space Nine did, it just gets really old really fast. A plot device that's just nice once in a blue moon. Or even not a device, but just a different way to go. But damn it, you don't have to give me Mirror Universe in every damn Star Trek series we get. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, but you might as well not put Kirk in it, right? You might as well not mention Kirk or the Enterprise.
Oh, that's the other damn
in my
thing
opinion
about this. Having Kirk in here too.
Yeah.
Just another way for them to remind us who this guy is that's playing Kirk, which I had to remind myself about halfway through. Oh, this isn't our Kirk. This is an alternate timeline Kirk, and because he was getting on my nerves big time, and I was starting to blame the actor, and I still may. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Where are we at here? Yeah, so I start wondering immediately, is this 29th century technology? Because that's, canon we've already established in the past. And you asked about the temporal agents and stuff, if they had a name. You asked me before we were recording, I guess I should say, because I didn't. People are like, well, when the hell did he say that? Yeah, he asked me before what the name of the temporal agents were, and I don't think that he said the agency. I don't think they mentioned. They may have, so you can put that in the comments as well as you're hitting the subscribe and like button. It's just the temporal agents as far as I know, so we'll see what happens. The That's what I've
It's
always
when
called
this
them.
agency started patrolling the timeline, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I remember, it was the 29th century when they were just kind of doing everything, and we first learned that in Voyager is
Mhm.
where we first see those guys, and then you see it in some. Do we see it in some Enterprise stuff? Yeah, I think we do. See, yeah, we do see it in some Enterprise stuff. Voyager, we see it with Captain what's his name? I can't think of the guy's name. Two different actors played the guy too. Let's see. And oh yeah, so I'm just looking over my notes because I'm trying to see like, so it's not United Federation of Planets. It's the
Right.
United Earth Fleet, which that was my first scare that it was Mirror Universe, and I was like, okay, I think we're good though. It doesn't sound like Mirror Universe stuff. You see Spock, being with the Vulcans, and obviously they aren't
Doing
unfriendly
so
with
hot.
the Earthlings, but they aren't friendly with them either. It's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type deal. It sounds like because
He actually dropped that, didn't he?
yeah, oh yeah, I guess he did. Yeah, so I'm not poetic or nothing like that. And I wrote down like, why is Leon? I hate saying her name. I really do. Laan. Why is La? How is Leon? Yes. How is Laan so up on time travel? Because she sure did come out of that like she just fucking knew all about it. And you got to remember, this is pre TOS.
Right. But
So
there are protocols in place. They did establish that in this episode.
they see, and that's bullshit. I don't buy. I don't. I can't deal with that shit. Like you
She's
can't
a
establish
security
your own shit
officer.
in that episode, and then expect the rest of the fandom to go, "Oh, okay, that's fine." You can't do that shit. That's
Well,
wrong.
it's reasonable to expect a technologically advanced civilization that is not involved in time travel yet to have protocols for time travel.
I'm not saying they can't have
In
protocols.
theory,
She just acts like she knows all about time travel. Like, oh yeah, we this is an old hat to us, and no, it's not. Kirk, when they went back in his timeline, was really the first they really started messing with time travel, and then
yeah.
that's the only way they knew of was to do this slingshot maneuver thing. Even after his time, that was the only way that they knew of for the longest time. So
I looked at it a
why
little
you have
different.
protocols, I don't know. Well, no,
I
I
kind of
guess it's
felt
because of
like
Enterprise.
I kind of felt like when it first happened, you saw her like wanting to jump in, like both hands head first into the situation. Because she walked up to Kirk, she's like,
Yeah,
"Hey."
yeah,
But after that, after like Spock intervened, she kind of like held back, reserved a little bit, observed, kind of reoriented.
yeah. Now
So
I just thought of something that I want to correct myself on before I get killed by the nerds because
uh,
it needs to be said. Um, because I suppose that you could go based off this. So Enterprise did have time travel stuff in it, and I got to keeping these timelines straight. It's just so irritating.
yeah,
So Enterprise did come before this technically in timeline. So there was some time travel stuff in there. So I guess I'll let it have a pass as far as protocols, but I still feel like she knows way more than she should because I'm basing it off of watching TOS and seeing that timeline come up and seeing how kind of kind of up on time travel they were. And I
Mhm.
realized these are out of times. One was made in the 80s, and all this shit. And you got to, I get that. There's a lot of fixing. In fact, they fixed something in this episode, as a matter of fact. Speaking of that, we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, they're trying to do a lot of fixing, I guess.
yeah.
And I will accept the fix that they do in this later episode because there hasn't been a fix yet, and there's got to be because otherwise it's just going to annoy all the fans.
Right.
So this thing with Kirk,
Well,
man, being from space, so he kind of hammers that home, I believe, right?
yeah, he mentioned it more than once.
Yeah, it got annoying because I was like, I'm from space. And
Earth is dead.
yeah, they really hammer that one home, and I thought it was funny that he was born on the USS Iowa instead of in the state of Iowa. That was
Right.
pretty funny. Um,
I was gonna say a second ago with Leon, it's also like given her namesake, it's to me Star Trek has always held like certain biological species, certain modes of interstellar travel and time travel in like the utmost regard of scientific theoretical physics and all that, right? And you would think with Leon's last or heritage or whatever that sooner or later something I wouldn't expect it to have come up so quick, but you know one of those highbrow themes would come up in her arc soon
now
to
I'm
make her
wondering. Now I'm
interesting.
wondering if I shouldn't give her a pass for the time travel thing just because she's got a genetically enhanced ancestry.
Right?
I don't know because we don't even know what her deal is. As far as does she get it passed because she wasn't actually genetically modified, and does she have genetic modifications? I don't know that that's been super established yet or not.
Well, how weird is it how much screen time she's had? This is an episode focused on her, and within the first minute, maybe two of meeting this alternate Kirk, we know him, right? We know who he is, what he's about.
Well, we think we do. Again, that's what I had to remind myself of because I was being hypercritical of the dude, and then I was like, "Well, this ain't even our dude."
Right.
I mean, it is, but it isn't. So it's like something my wife said. I got a quote here by her because when I'm skipping way back to the end, but like they kiss,
Yeah.
obviously, and my wife is like, "Well, same old Kurt." I was like, "Yeah, and no,
Some things never change, right?
yeah." I guess there's gonna. I guess that proves that there's just consistencies, and sometimes alternate timelines are just minute little changes.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many infinite number of them. I guess. Um, him talking about his first water shower, I thought was kind of. These just things that I picked up on. I thought was kind of funny. It looked like they had colonized all the planets, so they they didn't have the United Federation of Planets, but they had their whole little our solar system pretty much colonized. It sounded like he said
Yeah, like what Mars, Saturn's moons, and some other
Venus.
moons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was listening to a bunch of stuff, and they came in and did a shot on the bridge before it exploded, so they kind of foreshadowed that something was going to happen there.
Yeah.
I thought the bridge looked like the one in London. They were in Toronto, obviously, but I thought it looked a lot like that one in London. But
Right.
yeah. So the bridge blew up, and they started. I felt like this. I don't know. Time was speaking of being a time travel episode. This was a very time travel way to watch it. I felt like it just went on and on. Honestly, I wasn't crazy about this episode. I love time travel. But here's what I don't like. I do not like modern day era shit in my Star Trek or my anything really. For the most part, I didn't like it in Doctor Who. I don't want to see modern day stuff really. I want to see my guys out in space doing space shit. I can
Yeah.
watch modern day shit all day long on TV, cop shows, whatever. I can see that all day long. If I wanted to watch a whodunit show, and basically this is like a buddy cop show, and I can want, I didn't even come to Star Trek for that. So,
Yeah.
and I said I wouldn't be hypercritical because a lot of people might be fine with this. Overall, the episode's okay, but I'm not left any higher level than I was last week, and I was hoping for a big jump up from last week.
For all the defending that I've been doing for the episode so far, I would agree. It was like the last episode and this episode. It was not as slow as the court episode, but it still did not give me what I wanted coming from the first one, right?
And they were both slow, though, right? The pacing,
Yeah.
I swear, man, I just found myself looking at the clock going, is this a
Right.
longer episode than normal?
I I actually had to finish it this morning because I fell asleep watching it.
Yeah, I believe it,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I fell asleep on the last one. It's almost like it wasn't following like a normal act, 3 act like setup or something like that because it just didn't seem like it flowed in equal parts. I guess I don't know.
It
Um,
just seemed like certain themes were drawn out, right?
yeah, I mean, and I felt like we were getting nowhere really with their looking around. Like they're just kind of fucking around. This chick actually finds them,
Yeah.
which kind of puts them on. Then they come up with a stupid deal about the glowing face watch, which I actually had learned about not too long ago about the radioactivity of that stuff in Indiglo. So
Mhm.
that's a valid thing, but I thought, that's just going to probably get you in just a big general vicinity. I mean, like, how
Yeah.
accurate is that thing going to be? So I have a little bit of a problem with that, but I mean, once I guess they get to a building and she sees her name on, her last name on it, then maybe that just enough for her to put two and two together anyway.
Right.
Um, so we do. They get into the building. I knew Kirk was going to die. No doubt. As soon as
So
he started being smug, like I knew that Romulan chick was going to kill him.
even before this, we kind of skipped over the chick that you mentioned, the new chick in this
Yeah, I
episode.
said, well, she just found them. That's the only mention I made. That chick, the Romulan
Yeah.
chick.
But she actually talks about aliens, proof of aliens on the planet, and this is a what do you call it? Pre-warp civilization, non-Federation type
Yeah,
planet.
yeah. She
So there's this question of like aliens. They are kind of like aliens, even though they're not, right?
right.
And,
Yeah,
and
and
there's
that
a Romulan ship shown.
right. They show that Romulan ship, which is funny that she's just laying all that out there for them. I guess because she's trying to get them to react, maybe to see if they're Starfleet or something like that, or whatever fleet. I don't know what. Well, she knows what Starfleet is, yeah, because she's back there
Yeah.
trying to muck things up. Um, but she was the fix to the
Yep.
con thing because I had a huge problem with this being in the time it was in. And when I saw his name as a child on the thing, I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "That shit happened in '90s, man."
Yep.
I told my wife 95. I was actually 3 years off because they corrected it. You saw the Romulan said, you know, something about 92, and I've been here for 30 years, and so that was their fix. Because I've always had a problem with that. Like we surpassed. Gene Roddenberry's been right about a lot of stuff, but in that regard, he was a little too optimistic about what we were doing, what we would be doing with genes.
Yeah.
He should have given it a few years. But yeah,
Well,
they have adjusted accordingly.
he's been optimistic about a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
Especially when it comes to humans.
for real. Yeah, he was a little wackadoo about a lot of things, but he had we're using a lot of ideas that came from his creations. You have to
I
wonder
had
how
this
much of that's
conversation.
him though, or the people he surrounds himself with. That
Or
technology.
just fanboys being fanboys, right?
Yeah.
And being in these engineering type positions, like the flip phone. That was the whole thing. I had a
Well,
conversation with Jay once about, there was it the first episode of this season one, episode one, where he was like out on the ranch. Chick comes up and she's got the communicator and she flips it up. She's like phone,
yeah,
and that's where we got that design from. Was the
sure.
original
Oh
Star Trek,
yeah,
right?
yeah, no doubt. Well, what I was saying, so what I was getting at, like, say in writers, a lot of times when there's technobabble, like they'll just write they'll literally write technobabble or whatever,
Right.
just so Gene could have just come up with a story, and obviously he's not even necessarily written anything, but
Yeah.
it's these guys that take the technobabbles that actually have created this stuff more than anything. So like I'm thinking of the Doug Drexlers and the Rick Sternbach and Michael Okudas of the world.
Hmm.
Trying to think of the old school guys like Matt Jeffries. So maybe they're actually more credit than Gene Roddenberry. I know that he does get a lot of credit for the vision of Star Trek, but these guys have actually put a face on the idea.
Yeah.
And that's what all us nerds and the nerds that went into work for Apple and all these other companies that created this stuff that we use now. That's where they got their ideas from. So
Yeah. And I mean, I talked about the flip phone a second ago, but tablets are pads, right?
yes, absolutely. I've said that from the get go.
Yeah.
Like that old Macintosh pad from back in the '90s, the Newton. I said, well, there's your first pad right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course they would steal the name years later. Why not,
Just
huh?
life imitating art, man.
Yeah, that's it. So I guess we need to swerve back into the finish of this episode. Let's
The episode.
what else to say? I said Kirk dies.
Well,
I knew
had the
that was going to
romantic
happen.
interest. We knew that was going to happen, right? They were going to hook up.
Yeah, and I guess they're trying to show some kind of human side to La'an
Leon. Yeah.
uh, without using anybody from her timeline, which is convenient.
Yeah. And like she gets the Jim charm now, and we get to see Jim and the captain's chair for a second too,
Right,
right?
yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we got a chance to see him for a hot minute, and they remind us, hey, we got this actor who's playing this guy, and he'll probably be playing him a lot more. He'll probably get his own fucking show. I guarantee you, dude. Hear me now, believe me later.
Right.
He will get his own show. Yeah,
So yeah, plot twist. They need an engineer to be able to detect stuff. Blah blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah. And I knew she wouldn't be an engineer. I told her, I was like, right
Yeah.
before, I was like, you see, already I can tell she's clueless. She an engineer? What?
Yeah.
She didn't know. And I said,
I'm
but
in
I
sales.
said, guarantee you this is the catalyst for why she's an engineer in the future. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
So it was nice. They started with Carol Kane, they ended with Carol Kane. It was a good little twist. They had a little something free at the end about the painting and all that.
Yeah.
And then
Kind of dipped into that and kind of dipped into her reservoir. She plays that loony old lady
yeah,
role a
man,
lot.
the old hoarder, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who better to do that? It kind of reminds me of what she did with Penguin's mom as well
Right.
in Gotham. I put my notes down. I have nothing other special written down. I've said my piece on it. I think mostly that I got to say, compared to the first season, I'm not that impressed so far. It was a great start. Yes, episode 1, it was great, awesome. So they need to get back, and I know they've got a lot of people to deal with, a lot of stories to tell. So, and not the time that they used to have to do it in. Back in our day when, you could get 25, 26 episodes a season, you had time to tell stories of different characters, and now you just have to pack them all together.
Yeah.
2 or 3 in each episode. But
well, we've already gotten a couple and a little dip in the Spock, a little tangential shit. And now we've got Leon.
yeah,
The court and Una. They are kind of fleshing out some of the characters, but at the same time, this one, I will say this: first episode of this season, I was right with you. It was great. I was happy to see it come back. I was like, yeah, let's do this. Second episode was a little slow. We knew it was going to be a court case, blah, blah, blah. Themes were overplayed, but it was slow. I felt the same way about this episode. It was slow. The best thing about the last 2 episodes, in my opinion, is all the side shit that we get.
yeah. Honestly, just building the world on the side has been the best part. Now, I will say this: I've while you were talking, I was thinking about who's gotten their story so far. So Una,
Right.
that's a good thing because we don't really know that much about number 1 other than the pilot episode. Okay, so
Right.
I'll give him that one. Good one. Before her, obviously, it was the Doctor and Rand. Doctor especially, we don't know shit about other than the pilot.
Yeah, they're building a little bit of mystery behind him, like maybe he's got some spy-worthy elements or something, right?
Yeah, so it's fair that he gets some story time. We need to learn more about him, and Rand as well. Rand had more story over the years out of all of them, which was very little still. But she still makes sense to give story to. Pike, we've seen him in other series. Spock, we've seen in other series, so we don't necessarily need much from them. They're well established. We know what's up with them. Lon makes sense now because we didn't know anything about her.
Yeah, and we delved into Jim with this one, kind of another Jim.
Yeah. Like I said, they're just giving us a reminder that actor is even playing that guy.
Right?
Because I'm convinced there's another. There's going to be like a TOS reboot.
What about Uhura?
Oh, her
She's gotten
again.
kind
She's
of an
had plenty
episode
enough.
dedicated to her.
Yeah, she doesn't
Yeah.
need it, and they've given her these two. As far as I'm concerned, they've given her these like just little scenes, little vignettes of where they just show that she ain't letting nobody fuck with her station. We've had
So
that
that
twice now.
leaves the ensign, right? And
Yeah, Ortega,
and the science officer.
who is
I don't know. I think wasn't there one of them that got killed?
well, I would say Spock's
Or
the
no?
science officer, is he not?
He generally is, yeah. But isn't there someone that mans the station when Spock isn't there? Right?
Oh, I'm sure. Well, yeah, I mean, they have to. I just don't know who that would be.
Yeah, I think it's a recurring character,
Who
tall
am I missing besides
Asian guy,
Ortega
maybe.
that I know the name of?
I don't know.
Hmm.
So comms, ensign, science, con. What else is there? Battle, Leon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're if she's manning weapons or if she's just security. You know, I don't know if they're treating it
Right.
like the Next Generation, where Worf was head of security and manning the weapons station.
I don't know, man.
All good
We'll
questions, which you
see.
can put into comments and let us know what you think or correct anything we've said as you're hitting the subscribe or like button. It's real easy to do right below there. What was that?
I was just saying, we'll see what happens. I'm expecting some heavy lifting in the next episode or
Man,
two.
tell me
They
about it.
better come with it.
Yeah, tell me about it. I need something a little more better. I need
More better,
yeah,
please.
more better, please, because it's just too slow pacing, man. Y'all are dragging your
Yeah.
feet through molasses for some reason. You're not pacing very well. Maybe you're giving some junior writers a chance, and here, I don't know. But anyway,
What are we expecting? 8 or 9
I'm sorry.
episodes? Are we expecting 8 or 9
Oh,
episodes?
hell, I guess 8 is a safe assumption, maybe. I think
So yeah, you
8.
guys will see a few more of these as the weeks come.
Yep, we got some more to do. Seemed like there was about 8 episodes. There's usually 8 episodes of Card and stuff like that. Unless they do
Right.
something wacky like a 14, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd take it, man. It's a
Same.
lot nowadays.
Especially if it gets better.
Treating it like British television out here now.
Right.
We do 6 episodes a season. How long is how long is the
And a
season?
Christmas special.
Yeah. Thank God for the Christmas special. You can remember that you ever had a
Right.
fucking show you watched. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that show. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe button on your way out the door, and we'll see you on the flip side. As always, be excellent to each other.
Thanks so much.
See ya. Wouldn't wanna be ya. Peace.